everyone, Rachel here from Curly Quilts. Today I thought I would come at you with a tutorial on how to make a medical face mask from start to finish. I don't have a sample here because I've actually sent the ones I've made already, and so I thought I'd kind of go over just how to cut them out, how I put the elastic in. The pattern I'm using was sent to me by my EMT friend, so I will go ahead and link that in the description box below. But right now I'm going to be taking these superhero fat quarters and cutting them up. And I'll just kind of go over how to do them really quick because I know there's a bunch of tutorials out there. But just in case you wanted another perspective or a different method, I wanted to provide you one. Alrighty, so I have my fat quarter fabric here. I just ironed it and everything like that. I'm cutting my masks 9 inches by 6 inches. So in one fat quarter, I can actually get 6 pieces, which means that's 3 masks. Again, there's definitely tons of different patterns out there right now, especially since, everything that's going on. This is the pattern that was sent to me by my friend who is an EMT. And like I said before, I will go ahead and put that link down in the description box below. I believe it's the Deaconess, I don't know how to say it, pattern that's sort of been floating around. It's a really simple, basic pattern, and it goes together fairly easy, especially if you're just a quilter and you're not used to cutting out patterns. What's nice too is that you don't need any sort of template like some of the other ones I've seen out there require a template or putting some sort of filter, like making a pocket basically, and then adding in a filter, which I'm sure is probably preferred by some of the medical professionals out there. But right now we're just looking for something, right? We're just needing the basic masks to go out to kind of help people on the front line from basic germs. These are the masks that are the most simple. And so therefore, nurses, EMTs, sort of people who are just dealing with the basic medical issues as opposed to the virus. Because obviously a cotton mask is not going to protect anyone from the spread of a virus, but it can help protect people from, cold germs, basic flu germs, help. It's really about, keeping your hands off of your face, really. And at this time, I don't think most medical professionals are too picky. So there's 1, there's 2, and 3. So out of one fat quarter, you're able to make 3 masks. I've been using 1/4 inch braided elastic from Dritz. I don't have very much of this left, and so I'm just using up what I have. I've cut mine to about 7.5 inches just because I like to have a little extra sticking in through the seam, so that way I know it catches and that way I know it's really secure. You can also make these masks using bias tape. I don't have any pre-made and I don't really feel like ironing that much binding. So I'm just going to make as many masks as I can with the elastic that I have. And I have reached out to friends on my Facebook and things like that to see if anyone has any extra. So I'll go ahead and move the camera and show you guys how I stitch these up. Alrighty guys, here I am at my Singer 301A. For the initial part, I like to just use my straight stitch machine. And then when we flip the mask inside out and do the pleating, I will take it over to my other machine just because it's a little bit more powerful. So what I've done is I've taken my 6 inch by 9 inch piece, 2 pieces, and put them right sides together. Like so. And then what's going to happen is on one side, we're just going to stitch all the way across. And I'm going to chain piece these. So I'm going to do all 3 at once. And then we're going to flip it around. And on the other side, we're going to stitch and then leave about, a 2 inch opening. And then stitch again. And then what will happen once we chain piece all 3 masks together, we'll then take our elastic and inset that inside and then flip everything. So I will just go ahead and chain piece these together. I got this superhero fabric yesterday at Walmart because after I'd stitched a bunch of like girly, really feminine masks, I realized there's probably a lot of guys out there in the medical field who are wanting something a little bit more masculine. Slash, I feel like if you work with kids, if you're a pediatrician or something like that, if you're working with kids, having some, fun superhero comic book masks might make things a little bit brighter, a little cheerier. So I will go ahead and chain piece these together. Okay, now that I have sewn along one edge completely, and then this edge has been partially sewn, there's an opening here. What we're going to do is we're going to take our mask and we're going to open up the side seams because it's basically a tube at this point. And then what we're going to do is going to be a little bit tricky. This is just going to be a little bit more time consuming part. I'm sure there's some easier ways to do this. This is the way that I've been doing, and it works pretty well for me. So what I do is I just take the tip of the elastic, I shove it all the way kind of close to there, and I leave about a 1/4 inch sticking out, just because I really want to make sure that that gets sewn into the seam, and that it's a pretty secure mask. I don't want this to, break apart on someone in the middle of, working with a patient or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually reverse over it twice, just to make sure that it stays in place, and then we should be good to go. All right. And again, I'm probably going to just chain piece these. One, two. And then you just want to make sure that you feel for the elastic inside here and that it's laying nice and flat, so that way it's not crooked, doesn't get askew, and that way it'll be more comfortable for whoever is wearing it. So we have elastic on one side of all three, as you can see here. And so I'm just going to flip it around and chain piece the other side. Alrighty, so we have elastic sewn in on both sides. So now all we have to do is reach into our little opening here and flip the masks inside out. And I will show you guys how I turn it out so that way it's a little bit flatter and everything like that. You want to definitely give yourself a decent size opening, because what's going to happen is once we do the pleating, we're going to do a stitch all the way around the top edge, and so that'll help close our opening. And there it is. It's kind of how it looks right to start. It's just a big rectangle. And then so what happens is when we pleat it, it'll allow it to fit a greater variety of faces and head sizes. And with the pleating as well, it'll help contour to the mouth and nose area much better. I know there are some patterns that have like a point to them. I haven't tried that one. It looks like it would take a few more steps to complete, and so I just wanted a really simple pattern that was going to allow me to make as many masks in a shorter period of time as I could. There's two. And I've just been trimming any excess threads as I go. Okay, now let me show you guys how I kind of turn it out a little bit better. Okay, so I have my handy dandy ruler here. If you guys have a point turner, that'll work. If you have a chopstick, that would work pretty well. The ruler's actually been kind of nice because it has a 90-degree angle to it, and so when I come to these corners, it's been nice to just kind of shove it along. And I'm just kind of rolling out the seam here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to iron it, nice and flat. And then that'll help when I pleat it for it to pleat a little bit better, a little bit more uniformly. That way we can use as much as the fabric as we possibly can get. You don't have to go crazy with it. We're just doing it enough so that we can get it to lay flat. Again, this is an emergency situation, so let's not worry too much about our stitching or, this isn't, going to go in a museum or anything like that. We're literally just trying to help our medical professionals stay as safe as possible. If that's something that bothers you, feel free to be as detail oriented as possible. Feel free to fiddle around with this, but I don't think anyone who needs this to wear a cloth mask is really worried about your stitch quality. Okay, there's the second one. There's three. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press these, and then I will move the camera and show you guys how I pleat them. Alrighty guys, so I have pressed my masks, and this is what they look like. And now for the pleating, I kind of eyeball it. I'm not, again, this is an emergency situation, so I'm not too worried about it. These masks I'm going to make for a bigger head, for a bigger person, most likely a guy. I think as women, we tend to sew with a lot of, kind of girly floral fabrics, which, obviously in this situation, I don't think anybody's going to really care. But, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pleat it once here in the middle and then sew all the way around the edge using a 1/4 inch seam. And that way it'll just give the guy or whoever with the bigger head just a little bit better option for it fitting on their face. Now, if you're going to make this for a smaller, average size head, like a woman or a child, whatever, I would just fold it like so, like so. I've been using Wonder Clips. Sorry. So you could sew it with a Wonder Clip. Or hold it in place with a Wonder Clip. Like that. Dang it. And then, just kind of fold it the same way on the other side. And then that way it'll look like that. And then again, just take it to the sewing machine and sew all the way around. I switched to my Janome because it's a little bit more powerful. It can handle the bulky layers a little bit better than the Singer. So I'll show you guys one with the double pleat. And then the rest of them that I make will be the single pleat. And I do these one at a time just because you have to turn corners and stuff like that. It just makes life a little bit easier. I'm going to switch out my thingy. And actually, what I've been doing is I've been moving my needle all the way over, so it's more like an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And you'll notice as you sew over the pleats, they'll kind of shift a little bit, which I think is good. You don't want them too tight. Just kind of. Alrighty, and there you have it. There is the double pleat face mask. And that's what happens when you open it up and put it on your face. Now, this is the one that I tried on my face. I have a fairly average size head. I am a woman, so that's what would fit me most comfortably. The last two that I'm going to do will be a single pleat. And that way it could be a little bit more accommodating for, a man with a bigger head and things like that. So And that's what I'm going to do next. Alrighty, and there you guys have it. That's how you make 2 different size cloth face masks. Again, you could be more precise with these if you wanted to, but really, as long as they have something to cover their face, that's all that really matters.